everyone, my name is Tara Penny and I'm with Delta 3 Fitness. So the reason I'm here is to bring awareness to thyroidism and then share specific foods that affect our thyroid if we diagnose with a certain type of thyroidism. Okay. First of all, what is a thyroid? You have this butterfly-shaped gland in your throat. And most of us are unaware of it. You know, growing up, there's nothing really taught about it, right? But there's this butterfly-shaped gland in your throat, right here. If you see this back here, this is my little icon, my little logo for thyroid warriors. And I have that butterfly there because to me, that's the representation of thyroid. Many people you may find have some type of hypothyroidism. Some people are born without a thyroid. Some people are born with half thyroid. Some people, as they get older, as they age, they realize something, my body is not functioning properly, what's wrong? They end up going to the doctor, and the doctor will provide certain tests or issue certain tests, and they will find that they have either hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, or other forms of thyroidism that affects people, right? So you have those when they go in. Now you have some who they really cannot function with the actual thyroid they have, and so they have the thyroid removed. You have some people who have a goiter, so that's this big chunk right here, just like a growth right here in your throat that needs to be removed. You unfortunately have individuals who end up with thyroid cancer. You have people who have autoimmune diseases, something such as Graves' disease and Hashimoto's. Those are different types of thyroid issues. So how does the thyroid function? The thyroid, there's something called a pituitary gland. And a pituitary gland is at the top of our head, right? And what it does, as it relates to the thyroid, it's going to send stimulating hormones to your thyroid, TSH. So it's a thyroid stimulating hormone. Once the pituitary gland sends the TSH to your thyroid, the thyroid receives that signal. Now it's okay for the thyroid to release hormones such as the T3 and T4, those two hormones which control your metabolism. Okay, so that's pretty much what it does. So when you think about it, you have two different types of thyroidism. You have hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. Hyperthyroidism means your thyroid is just out of control. It's overactive. It's just doing too much. Your body just can't keep up. And so, you go through all these different symptoms and, different things occur for hyperthyroidism. Now, hypothyroidism is just the opposite. It is an underactive hormone or underactive thyroid gland, where your thyroid is not doing enough. And so, when it does work, it's just working hard, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do, which will create a similar symptom, but on a different level. So hypothyroidism, that's what I'm going to talk about today, and how food affects your thyroid when you are diagnosed with hypothyroidism. So hypothyroidism, you have three types. There are three types of hypothyroidism. One is the primary hypothyroidism. The second one is secondary hypothyroidism. And then you have the tertiary. You have the tertiary hypothyroidism. I'm going to talk about the primary hypothyroidism and the secondary. So with the primary thyroidism, your pituitary gland sends the signal to your thyroid. It sends the TSH, which is your thyroid stimulating hormone, to your thyroid, and the thyroid receives that signal. It's supposed to receive the signal and move forward in creating or releasing the T3, T4. Those are hormones to control your metabolism. When you have the primary hypothyroidism, it means that the pituitary gland is working, it's sending the signals, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Your thyroid may receive it, but the thyroid is not functioning properly. The thyroid is unable to create or produce enough T3, T4 to get that metabolism going, okay? So that's the primary hypothyroidism. Then you have a secondary hypothyroidism. Secondary hypothyroidism means that the pituitary gland is struggling or has not sent the thyroid stimulating hormone, the TSH, to your thyroid gland. Therefore, the thyroid gland is unable to create or produce the T3, T4 hormones that it needs to send through your body. So that secondary is the pituitary gland issue. The primary hypothyroidism is your thyroid issue. I have hypothyroidism and I'm not sure which one I have. I'm just going to assume that I have primary hypothyroidism, but it would be cool to find out which one I have, because if it's my pituitary gland is not working, then I need to figure out what's going on with my pituitary gland instead of just assuming things and taking medicine for something else. For my thyroid, the thyroid could be fine, but my pituitary gland is the root of the problem. So with that said, so that's hypothyroidism. Now, we have so many things related to it, but what I want to focus on today is the foods that you should avoid when you have hypothyroidism or when you are diagnosed with hypothyroidism. Okay, so I'm going to give you a list, and that list, a lot of them are common, is pretty well known, right? So the first thing on the list would be soy. You want to avoid or limit your soy intake. So what happens with soy, it has no effects on the thyroid hormones and very modestly raises the thyroid stimulating hormone levels. However, the soy consumption may interfere with ability to absorb thyroid meds. So if you're taking your medicine and you're intaking soy on a daily basis, then that may affect your medicine. So you want to give yourself at least 4 hours between meds and the soy intake, okay? Cruciferous vegetables, I'm going to skip through that because that's the main things I want to talk about, but it's called cruciferous vegetables. And so I've been online researching, just trying to understand what I'm going through, and I believe this is on everydayhealth.com. The third one is gluten. Basically do gluten-free foods, and then maybe whole grain varieties of foods, and the pasta and rice and all of that, but whole grain if you can. 4 is avoid fatty foods, right? Of course, we all know that. Avoid fatty foods. 6 is processed foods. We all know that as well. If you want to remain healthy and if you want to maintain an appropriate weight for you, then you want to definitely stay away or minimize the amount of processed foods you're intaking. And then number 7 is excess fiber. We all need the fiber. We all need the fiber, right? We get it out. So too much beans, too many, is it legumes? If I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, I apologize, and vegetables. So too much or an excessive amount of those foods can affect your thyroid. Number 8 is pretty much coffee. So you want to avoid drinking your coffee early, first thing in the morning. Most of us who are dealing with thyroidism have to take the meds. And so, unless you're doing holistic, whatever that may be. But if you're taking the med, then you have to eat an hour after you take your med. And they're saying that with coffee, you want to wait. You don't want to do that first thing. You take your medicine, and then you wait at least 30 minutes afterwards before you can consume your coffee, if you drink coffee. That's pretty much that. So giving yourself some time between taking your meds and consuming the coffee. The 9th one is, I know it's hard for most people, but the alcohol consumption. it does not work well with your medication for thyroid. So those are the 9 that I researched, that came up in my research, and I wanted to share that. And so as I go back to the second one, the cruciferous vegetables, this is one that frustrates me the most. Okay, it frustrates me the most, and I don't even know if people are aware of it, if people understand. If you are diagnosed with hypothyroidism, too much of it can cause a problem. So, or several problems. And excuse me if my voice, it may scratch, it may become hoarse every now and then, and that is another symptom of hypothyroidism. So anyway, so cruciferous vegetables, you guys, those are veggies in the cabbage family. So, or broccoli, cabbage. You have, let me just list them here. I can just list them: cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, collard greens, spinach, turnips, arugula, bok choy, watercress. That's it, kale already, garden cress. Some of those I don't eat. But all of those, if you consume too much of these foods, they will affect your thyroid. And I did not learn this until I was competing. I was training for competition, and I was eating healthy. I ate a lot of spinach. Oh my God, I was eating a lot of spinach. I was also drinking coffee, not drinking coffee, but taking the coffee pills. I was doing tuna. I was eating tuna, and that doesn't have anything to do with cruciferous vegetables, but there are so many other foods that I was eating that I should not have been eating in excess amount because it was affecting my thyroid. And so I was tearing up that spinach. That spinach I was eating, I can eat this every day, all day. And sure enough, I was wondering, why are my hands swelling? Why is my stomach bloated? Why are my legs swelling? Why are my feet swollen? I mean, just everything. And then I just felt so tired. And when I'm tired like that, I know that it's my thyroid, but I didn't understand why I was swelling as much as I was. I just didn't understand. And I ended up reading a book. It is called Sleep Away the Pounds. And I read that. I was reading through the book, and all of a sudden I read the thyroid section, hypothyroidism section. And it started telling me some of the foods that I should avoid with hypothyroidism. And I'm like, what? And so I learned a lot that day about what I should not be eating. And so it frustrates me because we always say, eat your green veggies. And so I'm like, what am I supposed to eat? All the veggies are gonna affect my body. And so I wanted to share that the cruciferous vegetable, if you have been diagnosed with hypothyroidism, there's this thing called iodine. Iodine is the aids in thyroid to produce T3, T4. Let me just read this. Cruciferous vegetables may interfere with production of thyroid hormone if you have an iodine deficiency. If you do, limit your cruciferous veggie intake because digesting the veggies may block thyroid's ability to utilize iodine, which is essential for normal thyroid function. And again, if you have an iodine deficiency, that is a part of hypothyroidism. Those veggies that I listed, that I named, are veggies that you do not want to consume a lot of. You don't want to overeat them. You want to change it up. I know this past week, I'm hard-headed. I'm like, I want my spinach. So I ate a lot of spinach over the last few days. And guess what? On Tuesday, I felt it. I literally felt that. I was like, oh my goodness, hands swelling, body swollen, absolutely tired, fatigued, couldn't do much of, I was a zombie, but I was still trying to push through and keep moving and doing what I needed to do. Perfect example, that was that day my daughter asked me to help her with Wushu One, which is a Korean form of martial art, and I was supposed to help her with self-defense. So I'm sitting here, she's like, hold on, grab my wrist, and I need you to grab it with with I need you to hold tight. And I'm holding. Normally I'm stronger than that. And she was like, "You're barely holding me. That's not helping." And I was like, "I cannot grab your arm anymore. I do not have the strength. I mean, I'm barely standing here. So if you can just, deal with me right now." Honestly, you don't want my strength, because if I had the full strength, then I'd be like, and then you wouldn't be able to do your defenses. I'm holding you so tight. But that day, I just did not have physical strength to help her in the way she needed help. And with that said, cruciferous foods is something, if you have been diagnosed with hypothyroidism, those foods are something that you need to pay close attention to, because your iodine, you may be deficient in your iodine, and so eating those foods will affect your iodine. And I think that's it, but I just wanted to share that with you. I'm gonna try to. Today is Thursday, and I can call it Thyroid Awareness Thursday. Or as I can, I may not do a video, but I may just throw things out there, facts about thyroidism. It may be hyperthyroidism, maybe hypo, could be autoimmune disease, Hashimoto's, or Graves' disease, or just different symptoms that you need to look out for. And then also just going to get checked. Going to the doctor and getting checked, getting your blood work done, asking for, can you check my TSH? Can you check my T3, T4? Can you do this? Ask them. Make sure you ask, because most of the time they're not including those specific tests in your normal, blood work. So that's something that you should ask. So with that said, that's it. I just want you, if you do have any type of thyroid issue, just know that you are a thyroid warrior. And that's this sign back here. If you can see, let me get up. I am a thyroid warrior. And this is my little sign that I created as a thyroid. Okay, yeah, that's our little ribbon. And it's just something that's dear to my heart, because I am one who suffers. Sometimes I do suffer, but I am one who is dealing with thyroidism on a daily basis, along with a lot of other people that you may know, and you may not be aware that they are as well. So with that said, you guys, have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your week, and take care. Love you. Bye.